Railroad the Watcher DLC. I waited a long time for it. I delayed my room tier list for this. And how is it? Disappointing? So I love Railroad and its first DLC, Downpour. I loved exploring the world, interacting with the creatures, learning the lore of a decaying world, and the stories of sentient things that were left behind. So of course, I was excited when they announced more DLC after I was done with Downpour. Unfortunately, it does not deliver. Let's get into it. Also, please note this was written in version 1.10.1 and below, so I have not experienced the improvements they've made since. The DLC includes only one campaign, which is a lot less than Downpour's 5. That is fine though, as a good campaign can easily be worth getting. The campaign starts with a cutscene that doesn't really tell much other than the Watcher does indeed watch things. Once the cutscene ends, you see Watcher jumping off a starting platform. I immediately recognized the area to be familiar in style, which makes sense as this is a new sub-region in Industrial Complex. I wandered around a bit before checking my settings, because for some reason my controls had changed a bit. Then I went back in and wandered more until I found a very familiar karma gate to Outskirts. Now that I knew it's the same world, my first order of business was going to 5 Pebbles, as that's where every slugget goes first. I decided to take the Chimney Canopy path there and I encountered nothing new while traveling. As I got closer, I noticed that purple rot was carving the way to Pebbles and the shelter, so I went to the Echo instead, only to find it looks different. It has some quirky dialogue, and then you're sent back to Industrial. When you return, you notice that it's more rotted. The sky is purplish and there's weird black stuff on the ground. Here I started to worry about the DLC and how it's going to interact with my room tier list. It was cool seeing the world change, like seeing rotted blue fruits that only restore half as much hunger. Seeing that the Chimney Canopy path to Pebbles was blocked, I went to Shaded to see if the Memory Crypt's path was open. The world became a lot more purple when approaching it, so I was not hopeful. After seeing that path was also blocked, I took the Echo and it took me back to Industrial again. It did give Watcher the powerful ability to camouflage, which makes you invisible to enemies. You can still move around normally. The next closest Echo was in Farm Race, so I headed there. I did also notice the path of drainage systems from Outskirts was blocked. After making it to Farm Race, the Echo sucks you up into a little portal and you go into a new region, Coral Caves. Here I will talk about all the things I dislike about the DLC, along with a little review of each region. One good thing about the DLC is that the new regions are quite beautiful. Like this look? It looks really good. The first new creatures I saw are these weird bugs with tubes coming out of their shells. Spoiler alert, these guys are absolutely awful. Easily the worst creature in the game. They constantly get in your way. You might think, oh, just kill them with a spear. Wrong! They're immune to spears. They also stun you if you touch them. You can throw rocks at them to make them move a little, but if there's multiple, good luck. After giving up, I went another path and encountered a new creature. It's very cute, but I had to see if it was edible. Turns out it poisons you, you become very slow and sickly, which basically ruins the rest of your cycle. This one is a lot more fair, because once you know to avoid it, it won't do anything to you. The stupid crowds will always get in your way. You will hear a lot more complaining about them. After dying a few times, I found a room with a mysterious portal in it. It led me to the next region. The terrain here confused me, so I immediately jumped off a cliff. I hadn't slept in a shelter, so back to Coral Caves I went. After taking a different path, I found a weird pulsing area, but I guess it didn't do anything. Also found this beautiful room and it leads nowhere. Back to Blast Deck I go. I explored around a bit, died, and went back to a different route. I noticed a new creature on the map, so I went to meet them and I love moth-like creatures. Whatever it is, I love it. While exploring, I noticed another karma flower in a dead-end room. I guess they really like those now. As far as I'm aware, karma doesn't even do anything here. Maybe it does, but I haven't found a use for it now that they completely removed the gates and replaced them with these lame portals. Eventually I find the next one and immediately die to a blue lizard. After making it back, I had a lot of trouble actually getting to the portal because it blocked some of the walls and I couldn't even see that I couldn't go there from here. Next up we have Sunlit Port. I don't have much to say about this one. No new creatures and nothing else worth mentioning. Here's me speedrunning this region. Okay, cool. Next up, Rusted Wrecks. This region starts in a rusted wreck. When you go outside, you know that there is sand somehow. There is a rain timer here, so you'd think it will all get washed away, but I guess not. Here you can also find this tall-legged crab who has a motor shell. It's kind of funny, but it doesn't do much. Somehow it reminds me of Repo. The other part of this region has an ocean with rusty platforms. No more crabs, so I'm happy. There is this large room that actually started lagging out my game. Not a big deal, but kind of interesting when I don't remember the base game or downpour doing that. Next region is Desolate Tract. This region is kind of interesting actually. I like the way it looks. I encounter new creatures here like this weird bug with a big bomb. Naturally, I had to see if they're hostile and yeah, I think they're pretty neat though. Instead of a portal, you encounter a strange echo. After talking for a bit, it opens a portal to Turbulent pump. I do not like this region. It's filled with water and water currents which force you to go to a direction. It's very easy to drown the first time you interact with them, as you can get stuck. This region also has those stupid crabs that block your way. This one room where you had to go underwater and then the water blew you to where you're supposed to go is pretty funny. If it wasn't for those goddamn barnacles! Then there was this underwater swimming room that I failed, so I had to deal with the barnacles all over again. After making some good progress, I was once again stopped by barnacles, which indirectly caused my death. Too bad my efforts were useless because I headed to a dead end. I took a different way and finally found the Echo, who had absolutely nothing to say. After that, we have Thermal Relay. At this point, I really started to question this DLC. You know, Rain World has all these amazing creatures. They didn't add any here. There are these weird balls, but they don't do anything? There's all of these heated platforms that you had to avoid to not die. After finding Karma Flower, the game prompted me to form a new random path, so I did. This almost softlocked me, and then I died because I was so confused. This region features a lot of platforming. What else is there when you remove all the interesting creatures? I think they also forgot to add food because I could not find any, so I had to skip my shelter. Which really sucks because I died right after. So I went the other way, which is actually kind of cool. There's fire and food. There's also a dead end. At least, I couldn't find a way to get to the other side. This region is extremely linear. There's really only one way to go. Anyway, next up we have Salination. They really love their stupid water levels. This guy has more flames than a rivulet, who was literally made for swimming. Unfortunately, the barnacles are also back. This just might be the worst region yet. It's not just a water region either, it's an underwater region. They gave you some bubble plants to help you because this region is impossible without them. I ran out and I was forced to drown because I couldn't go anywhere. Awesome design! After simply going the other way, I found the Echo, and this is where hell started. After a great conversation, we were teleported to oh. Never mind, I guess. The only thing shattered about this region is its design. After going to a new region after talking to the Echo, we respawned on the portal. Unfortunately, I got a bug where I couldn't leave the portal before it sucked me back into Salination. So I had to wait possibly 2 minutes every time I died before I could actually go to Shattered Terrace. Then I'd get confused and immediately die again. After finally making it out, I got exploring. There is a shelter next to the portal, so I was searching for food. Turns out they forgot to add any! Not only that, this is also a dead end region, meaning there is actually nowhere to go. Of course, at the time, I didn't think they'd actually make a dead end, because that would be stupid. So I stayed here over half an hour. In the end, I got frustrated and I quit the game for the day. Just kidding. I came back for another 15 minutes, and I achieved nothing! When I came back the next day, they had luckily fixed the portal bug. In the end, I decided Shattered Threat sucks, and I kept exploring Salination instead. Sadly. This is where I started using the random path feature a lot more. First it brought me to torrential railways, which is exactly what it sounds like. My visit was not very long, and soon I was back in Coral Caves. After rerunning the region, it put me back in torrential. I don't have anything to say about it. It's a fine region. Aerial Tramway reminds me a lot of Blast Deck. Both have this annoying wind. They might be the same region, but I'm not sure. The wind prevented me from progressing, so I rerolled to the surface. This place is a winter region, and instead of rain, it has a warmth meter. There is actual ice here, which is cool to see. It also has big piles of snow, unlike Saint. Eventually I found a new lizard and got killed. Then I found the portal to Torrid Desert. I actually like this region. It's linear, but it's quite simple to go through, because it's not confusing like some other places. It also has shelters, and plenty of food. Meanwhile, stupid Shattered Threat only has one batfly, which isn't good for anything. Also, for once, there's creatures other than lizards or barnacles. Very refreshing to see centipedes. At the end of the linear path, there is an echo. He talks about being lost and then brings you to Badlands. I did not realize it at the time, but I came to learn this region's name is not lying. It really is a bad land. It has some little insects that clump on you and eventually kill you. More about those later. For some reason this region has black lizards, and for some reason your camouflage makes you immune to them even though they're blind. After wandering around, I found the portal to cold storage. Despite the name, this region has a rain timer instead of a warmth meter. I encountered more moths, which made me pretty happy. One was stuck, so I tried to see if it's hostile, and it seemed to ignore me. There is this one room in the region that has lizards in cages and they cannot get out. I really like the idea of that actually. It has some strange lore implications though. Surely the Colored Pearl will expand on that. Right? Where are my pearls? Anyway, one of the karma levels granted by the echo grants you the power to slightly levitate upwards when you're going to your camouflage mode. So I actually used this to my advantage to get up in this room. It is kind of fun to play around with actually. Then I encounter another dead-end room that hints at the possible location of the portal. Too bad you can't get there from here. Pretty annoying. I went looking for another way to go, and I found the way to Stormy Coast. I actually recognize this region from a mod. I don't know if it's the same exact region room-wise, but I did recognize the threat team. It has a lightning mechanic very similar to the one in Lethal Company, which I thought is pretty cool. In this one room I saw an effect similar to Portal, so I jumped down. Turns out that was a death pit. Back to cold storage I go. While in there I learned what the moths really do. They suck up lizards. Interesting to know they're predators, but cute things usually tend to be pretty nasty in these kinds of games, especially if they're large. Getting back to Stormy Coast, I explored until I found the echo on top of a tower. It's pretty funny he's not immune to getting struck by lightning. The portal from this echo leads to Signal Spider. This region is very pink. I think it might be the best one out of the bunch. The parts where you're inside aren't anything special, but when you get to the top, it's gorgeous. It's very similar to the view you see on top of the exterior from the base game. Getting there does basically require a grapple worm, but it's not nearly as bad as some of the sections in the underhang. At the top, you will see these awesome flying whale creatures. I tried to grapple onto it with the worm, but instead I grabbed one of its whiskers. After all the frustration I've been through, the view is really nice to see. It does make me wonder where this takes place though. I think it was established the ancients put iterators kind of everywhere, yet there are none in sight. No idea what those machines could be doing. Oh well. At the end of the ride I went up and found an echo. After saying nothing I am brought to Shattered Terrace. Bollocks! The one good thing about this region is that there are 2 karma flowers, so you can reroll pretty easily. After 2 rerolls, I ended up in a new region, Verdant Waterways. Another water region. It's not much better than the others. The gimmick here is that the water goes up and down. There are also these weird frogs that attach to you and drain your food. They're very similar to jungle leeches actually. You can use nails to make them detach. One problem I have with this region is that it's pretty boring. A lot of the rooms felt the same. I also couldn't find a shelter for the life of me. After respawning, I went back in and died. On the third try, I was transported to Shrouded Coast, another region I found to be pretty good. I really like the aesthetic of a foggy background and the endless containers. There are also moths here, which I do like. A scavenger toll blocks the way, but you can just turn invisible to get through. I did have a pearl in my mouth, so I used that instead to build some reputation. The inside areas are pretty decent and they lead you to the Echo. The portal from this one puts you in Station Annex. This region has rot. There's not been any anywhere since you first go into the portal, so it's pretty nice to see. I don't know the lore implications, but good thing we have pearls to clear that up. This region is like a smaller version of the rot. There are some strange platforming parts, so I used more of the levitation ability. It's turning out to be very useful. This region also has rot lizards. I also encountered a cyan rot lizard, which is absolutely terrifying. Here's some footage of me going through the rooms. I heard some echo noises, so I knew I was getting closer. I encountered another rot lizard and I had to use self-defense. The sound I make is just listen. At this point I was also considering maybe the DLC isn't as bad as I originally thought, but I did go through 3 of the best regions in the whole pack. Then I found the Echo and it brought me Salination. Never mind. I'd almost forgotten about the barnacles. So happy to see them again. Woohoo! I am still wondering if explosives can kill them. I sure hope so. Going to a familiar shelter, I got a cutscene. It showed something. Oh, the slug cats blew up maybe? Anyway, here I noticed my camouflage had changed. When doing it, all creatures and objects also vanished. They still exist, so it's not a way to counter the stupid barnacles, but I thought it was cool. Then I had another encounter with the goddamn barnacles. Oh my god, I hate this region. And then they did it again. I wish death on all the barnacles of this rainy world. Here starts the arc of me trying to reach karma flowers and then dying and having to wait for the dumbass barnacles to move. During it, I also realized going to the camouflage mode now spawns these ethereal slugs that do in fact kill you. Unfortunately, the effect went away once my karma dropped, but I did figure out they can spawn out of those rifts you create sometimes when camouflaging, even at lower karmas. Eventually, I made it to Torrid Desert, but I died, so I was put back in Salination, so I rage quit. But naturally, I came back an hour later. Finally, I got to sleep at the Shattered Terrace shelter, so I didn't have to go through the Salination hell again. A portal had spawned where I'd often used the random root ability, so rerolling became very easy. One of the rerolls brought me to Tundra Fault. The first time I went through this, I thought it'd just loop around back to the portal. While checking my footage, I had noticed that I missed a section that brings you out of the area. During my travels, I noticed something that looked like a map, which showed an echo. Of course, I never found said echo in this region. Later, I did some platforming using the levitation to reach a karma flower. Surely these areas were designed with the levitation in mind, because I did not see any other way to do this. After dying immediately, I made my way back to Torrid Desert. At this point I took a good look at the map and noticed a mystery region connecting to Badlands, so I made my way there. This is where I really started to get frustrated. To find a new area, it's a good idea to check places you haven't checked yet, obviously. I quickly discovered that locusts are extremely annoying. If too many pile up on you, you just die. They also completely ignore all other creatures. Can't say they contribute to a believable ecosystem. I did discover that a new lizard type can stain you purple, which apparently makes you immune to the locusts, but I did not figure that out. All I realized is that you can't camouflage with the goop on you. I tried the same room again and figured out you could kind of outrun the locusts if you keep going, but it's not consistent. In some rooms, there's mud you can also use to hide from the locusts, but again, I did not realize being stained made you immune. I thought it was just because bugs can't really fly if they're muddied up, so they didn't come with me. After exploring more, I encountered more locusts and they killed me. Then they killed me again. I tried that path again and after a lot of struggling, I actually made it to the pipe. I was so excited to see where it leads, and it's just cold storage again. All that for nothing? I just ended myself at that point. I went back to start the region to one place I had yet not been to, but the jump seemed impossible with all the locusts around. After a few more tries, I just quit. After returning 7 hours later, I decided to head back to Torrid to maybe reroll with a karma flower. Just kidding. Back in Badlands, I managed to get stuck in the wall. Luckily, the levitation of the camouflage ability still worked, so through pure chance, I managed to fly my way to where I was trying to go earlier. Inside was a karma flower. Now I'm packing Tundra Vault. Not much better, but oh well. I ended up in the same room where I noticed the way up that I hadn't seen earlier, so I used the path. There was also a drawing that told where a shelter was, which is weird because in Downpour those markings were made by Spearmaster. After some platforming, I realized Tundra Vault was just a sub-region of the surface. Next order of business was finding a shelter, but after a lot of aimless wandering, the rain came and got me. This region has both a rain timer and a warp meter, which is slightly strange. First time I had actually seen the rain, because when you use a portal, the rain timer resets, so it's very easy to avoid. After trying, I tried to get back there, but I got jumpscared by a vulture after avoiding the worm grass. In a panic, I tried to levitate out of the grass, but I accidentally triggered the region reroll, which is really interesting because I didn't have a karma flower. It brought me to corrupted factories, which I thought looked a lot like the path of garbage waste from Industrial Complex, which I believe is what they were going for. My visit was very short as there was the echo almost immediately, talking about how nasty the rot is. The portal brought me to Outer Rim. My visit there was even shorter because I had a skill issue and died. Turns out this echo encounter does not respawn you back at the portal, so I never saw this region again. After that disaster, I went to the Karma Flower and got transported to Ridgeworks. At this point I was just rerolling regions, trying to find where to go. I was still looking for more echoes, though maybe that was not needed at this point, but I didn't know that. Nothing exciting happened here, except a moth tried to grab me. I was just trying to find an echo or anything. Here's a massively sped up footage of me just going somewhere. Eventually I found the portal shore the coast and I went there. I was not too happy though, as I already had the echo from here. Then I went to cold storage and died to the wind twice. On the third try I was more careful and I made it. And my reward was a karma flower. Not the most effort I've gone through to get one at least. I rerolled and it put me in the Badlands region I glitched in earlier. I rerolled again and got to a new region, Fetid Glen. At this point I was thinking, how many damn regions are there? Little did I know, this is the region where I would really start to crash out. It started off pretty good with some interesting visuals. Then I encountered a new lizard type which slows down when you're near it. Pretty cool. Somehow I found a shelter, so if I were to die, I wouldn't have to rely on Archie to fight this region again. Things are looking good so far. I found a portal to Salination and I immediately remembered why I hate these barnacle guys. And this region in general, so I went back. After dying, sometimes, I was making some progress in going to the left when I encountered a rotted time lizard. It got me thinking if the rot is also in this region. Then I made it to a shelter and what followed is probably my worst gaming experience this year. I spent almost 1 hour in this section. It basically just boils down to a skill issue, but god, it was infuriating. Here's a death compilation of this section. After getting past that, I immediately failed a jump and died. But then I got to a new area and I heard the echo's music. The journey here was a lot longer than the path to the average echo, so during it I was starting to worry if I was even going the right way. But eventually I found it. And it had absolutely nothing to say. And then it killed me? At this point I was feeling pretty hopeless. How many more echoes did I have to still find? Did I even need to find more echoes? I had no idea. The echo had opened a portal to Shattered Terrace. My favorite. Then I rerolled into Salination and quit immediately. It was past midnight and I was tired after the Fetid Glen disaster. The next day I was just trying my luck with the rerolls because I didn't know what else to do. Nothing very special happened until I found the Coral Caves portal in Rusted Wreck, and I noticed Coral Caves is now rotted. There are these strange shelled rot creatures that don't seem to do anything other than throw you around. It was pretty cool seeing the region be all rotted now, though I found it interesting this one room had dripping goop, yet it was otherwise the same as before. Then I teleported to Shrouded Coast and nothing really happened until I found this part of Tundra Vault with like 3 rooms. Maybe I could have gone down, but after all the times I fell to a death pit thinking it would lead somewhere, I wasn't too keen on that idea. For the next half an hour I was just going to places I had already gone, just trying to find karma flowers for rerolls. Quite exciting gameplay! Eventually I found my way to Torrential Railways again, so I decided to see if it had anywhere I could go. I actually ended up liking this region quite a lot because there was plenty of food and shelter, so it was a nice chill time. At the end of the region, there was a karma flower, which I used to go to Signal Spires, but I died. So then I rerolled to Fetid Glen. No! This time I went left instead of up and it was very easy. I appreciate that this region has multiple paths to the echo at least. I do not believe this is the case for a lot of them, though I could be wrong. The portal of course leads back to Shattered Terrace, so I tried something. Remember when I said this region is a dead end? Well, turns out, if you have max karma, you can actually make the jump to the other side in this room that I thought was not possible. Is this an intended game mechanic? Were you meant to clear it this way? It definitely doesn't feel like you were supposed to do it like this. Either way, I finally found something to do. This region has no rain timer, so I could take all the time I wanted. After a while, I found the echo, but it was not reacting to me, so I used levitation to reach the head, but I accidentally figured out you just had to go to a twisted realm. After the echo talks about the strange creatures in this realm, you get transported to yet another region. But this one is different. It immediately reminded me of Metropolis. Then I saw rats. Could this be the sewer system of an ancient city? Then I found a Karma Gate shelter, which have not appeared out of Outer Expanse yet. And there I saw it. The region is called Ancient Urban. This is where I knew I must be getting closer to the end. Exploring more, I saw many small moths. There is no rain timer and there don't seem to be any dangers other than water, so it's very peaceful just exploring the sewer. I did manage to almost drown because the twisted realm made the water completely black, so I couldn't see where I was. In a panic, I again used the reroll to end up in Badlands. I definitely did not want to be here, so I tried to get a caramel lizard to eat me, but he was extremely bad at this one purpose. Maybe the mud disguises you or something? I don't know. It did take me a while to find where I was supposed to go in these sewers, but eventually I figured it out. Here you go through this room with what I think are sewer grates with shadows of ancients walking above it. I don't really know how to feel about us being able to see the ancients because it was kind of a fun mystery before. But it's only shadows for now. After a bit, you end up in an antique shop of some kind. There's some colored pearls and a window with shadows of more ancients and what I guess are cars. Then we end up in what used to be the Echo's room. Don't know why we get here through a random hole in the wall, but whatever. The Echo shows some regret, saying they will give anything to be back here. Then they vanish. I accidentally summoned a big ol' rift in that room, so whoopsie. After a while of exploring, I found a room that reminded me of the entrance to 5 Pebbles from top of the wall. A little moth grabbed me, so I had a little buddy for a bit. The moth left me when I entered the chamber. There are the 5 urges depicted on the wall, just like 5 Pebbles and Looks to the Moon. Violence, lust, companionship, gluttony, survival. After that, you enter a dark room with candles and coffins of some kind. All of them have the ascension symbol. In the middle you meet the Echo. In a past life, the Echo had tried to ascend with the void fluid, but they failed. After the dialogue, something strange happens. A cutscene plays where the Echo just vanishes. Did it suddenly decide to truly ascend somehow? Or did it just vanish like all the other times? I don't really understand. Maybe the other ending clarifies this, but I'm not sure if I really want to play any more of this campaign just to try and figure out how to get it. After the cutscene, you wake up in the middle of the room. Backtracking leads you back to the Echo's old room, with the 3 toys they described. When I first came here, I honestly thought the weird toy was the Echo just alive again. After a while, the game fades to black and a cutscene starts playing. The Watcher plays with the toys for a while, and then the cutscene ends and the credits roll. What? What could it possibly mean? I don't know. I'm just kind of happy I got an ending. Save file art shows the Watcher happily playing with a dreidel type thingy. There was no stat screen at the end, so I don't know how many times I died, but it took 81 cycles. I'll leave a little death compilation here as I talk about my final thoughts. This DLC is strange. I really liked the part where you had to explore the familiar world. It was quite a shock to see the path to 5 pebbles be corrupted, and I found it cool how after collecting the Echo the world becomes more rotted. I heard some people had no idea what to do here, but I thought it was pretty obvious that going for 5 pebbles is what you should be doing, as literally every other slug except Zane does that. After you realize he's inaccessible, going for the Echo seems like the next obvious choice. And if you're going through the Chimney path, which is a lot easier to begin with, then the Echo is right there after you realize you can't go to Pebbles. But yeah, the start was good. After the portal to other regions happened, I started to lose hope. I was still hopeful until I got to Shattered Terrace. Then I realized the campaign wasn't just a linear find portal type of deal. With how many regions there are, exploring ended up being a big chore. You never knew if there was even an Echo in your current region. They invented a solution to this with Zane's campaign, yet they just didn't use it for some reason? I don't know. I also think it's kind of disappointing how this DLC doesn't interact with Downpour in any way, other than some creature spawns. There are no unlockables to collect at all. You also cannot run Watcher in expeditions. They did say this is not the end of Watcher, so they might add them later, but I really don't like the release now, fix later model that's plaguing gaming. It's pretty sad to see one of my favorite games fumble like this. Let's talk a little about the creatures. My thoughts are kind of mixed, but leaning towards positive. The first truly new creature is really stupid. It's a little coral crab guy. If you watch this whole video, you already know how much I hate them. It's just unfun design. The moths and the baby moths on the other hand are pretty awesome. It looks like they can be hostile, but most of the time they're just gonna hang around and look adorable. There are also those little guys that doomed my cycle. They don't do anything except be a last resort food source, so I don't have many thoughts other than they're cute. But then we have those crabs with a drill on their back. They're kind of funny the first time you see them, but they don't really add anything. They just kind of are. Then we have those big bum bugs. They only show up in Desolate Tract, and I only went to that region once, so these guys barely show up. They also don't really do anything. They're really easy to avoid. They're like less threatening mirrors birds. Then there are those balls from heat ducts. They don't do anything. At least I don't see them doing anything. Then there's those, I don't know, mechanical worms who don't move. And they have balls on them that you can grab but never do anything with, except that one time a centipede shocked it so I could eat one. I don't get them, but I do get the new lizards. There's like 3 of them, I think. The Windy, the Thyme, and the Rot. The Windy lizard doesn't make much sense to me. Why has a lizard harnessed the power of the wind? It just seems like some kind of fan fiction instead of a believable creature in an ecosystem. I mean, come on, it has a wind circle that blows everything around it. The time lizard I learned is actually supposed to be like really stinky, and you get a sickness if you touch one. I thought just being in the time slowing aura made you like extremely old and frail. After the other lizard having wind powers, I wouldn't really doubt others having time powers. The last lizard is the rotted ones. As far as I can tell, any variant can become rotted. I saw blues, yellows, cyans, pinks, salamanders. It looks like they just get new horrifying sounds, and if you hit them they turn into full daddy long like with eyes? I don't know. They're kinda cool. There's also those new scavengers. I don't really know what they do. Maybe the aura they radiate lets them know of your and other creatures' locations? Not really sure. Oh, I did forget to mention the other new lizard that just leaks you to stay in you so you can't go invisible. They seem pretty tanky when I tried to attack one. Same for the time lizard actually. Then we have the locusts of Badlands. I think these guys just kinda suck. I can't be bothered to find a mud pit or stain lizard to lick me, so that is just annoying. The big skyways from single spores are actually very cool. Just riding them across a large pit is quite relaxing. Good creature, but I can't say the same about the vampire frogs. They're just kinda more annoying jungle leeches. They will not let go even after sleeping in a shelter, so you have to use either a snail to knock them off or kill them with a spore puff. They aren't insects as far as I can tell, so not sure why spore puffs work, but maybe they take inspiration from a mosquito or something. I almost forgot about those sandstorm in Badlands and I think Torrid Desert. They're like hostile garbage worms, except very easy to avoid. They only seem to attack if you happen to be near them when they pop out, which is not very common. I think that's all the creatures. I'm gonna miss some, and if I did, I am sorry. Next, there are the regions. I think there are just too many. As far as I can tell, there's like 20 of them. The base game and downpour combined have 22, but the difference is these are all for one character. It's just kind of exhausting going through all of them. Of course, you don't have to, but you probably will stumble across most of them trying to figure out where to go. I also heavily dislike how meaningless they are. They have no purpose. There's no lore to them as they have no pearls. The regions in the base game all had meaning. Industrial complex was where they made the masks for the ancients. Farmer race was a farm. Subterranean and outer expanse had trains that they used to transport stuff with. Meanwhile, the regions in Watcher just exist. They give us no reason to really care about them. It's kind of sad really. Let's do a really quick review of all of them. Coral caves, pretty beautiful. No major gripes out than the stupid coral crabs. Aether, it's fine. It had cool moths at least. Sunlit port. This region is tiny, but it's decent. Rusted wreck. I feel neutral about it. It's just kind of boring, I think. Desolate Tract. I don't remember much about it other than kind of liking the vibe. Not very memorable, I suppose. Turbulent pump. Water region with coral crabs. I do not like it. Heat ducts. I only really experienced the thermal vents part of this region and I didn't like it. Nearly no creatures here, so it was just boring. Salination. Underwater region with coral crabs. Stop! No more! Shattered terrace. This one is a bit confusing. They made the main section very small and for some reason the way to the ending is here. The one saving grace is that there are two karma flowers that are close to each other. Good for rerolling. Torrential railways. A chill region with lots of food and shelter. I like it. The surface. A region with both the rain and coldness. It also has rain grass, which is annoying. I don't know, I don't really like it. Torrid Desert. Another fairly good region. A desert in a game called Rainworld is an interesting choice, but I still like it. Badlands. This region is like Torrid Desert's evil brother. I do not like the locusts. Maybe I'm just bitter from all the pointless exploring I did, but man, I did not enjoy this one. Cold storage. Despite the name, it only has the rain timer. It's a fine region, I guess. I like that one room with the caged lizards. Stormy coast. Cool gimmick, but I did not explore this one much, so I don't really have thoughts. Signal Spire. Waiter, more Signal Spire please. This region is awesome. I love the view, though it raised some questions. Like I said before, there are no iterators to be seen, but wasn't the rain caused by water vapor released by the iterators? So why does it rain in nearly all of these regions? The iterators could be under the clouds, but iterators have cities on top of them, so that would be quite disastrous. It's also very confusing. And pink. This region is extremely pink. Verdant waterways. From top to slope. I don't like this one. I never found a shelter here, so every time I died, I was just put back to where I came from. It's a water region, so maybe that's a part of why I didn't like it. I also don't really enjoy how green it is. Shrouded coast. This one is good. I love the foggy background. I'm just a big fan of fog, really. I also like the big shipping containers. Station annex. This region is cool the first time, but the next time I came here, I immediately realized how big of a chore exploring it again would be. Good first impression at least. Corrupted factories. It's cool seeing the base game region be corrupted. I'd assume there's more like this, but I couldn't find any. Not like my visit here was long either. Still, pretty neat. Outer Rim. I was in this region for a total of 2 rooms. No thoughts were formed. Fetid Glen. I'm not a fan of the time lizards, but at least the region looks pretty cool with the trippy visuals. Still, my struggles were not good for my opinion of this region. Ancient Urban. A good region to end the campaign with. I liked it. Metropolis is one of my favorite regions and it's very similar in aesthetic. And that's about it. Let me know if the second ending is worth going for. Maybe it'll change my mind. But overall, I'm not sure if I can recommend this DLC. I give it a negative Steam review and I still probably agree with that assessment. Maybe the future parts will be better, but for now, thanks for watching. Maybe I'll catch you again when I make the room tier lists. Who knows? Still, have a great rest of your day or night. Bye!